along the way, but this one's the hardest because late last night, early this morning, we lost someone very
Cleto Escobedo III, the longtime band leader for Jimmy Kimmel Live,
It's just not fair.
Jimmy Kimmel returning to his
and a cherished friend of Jimmy Kimmel, died early Tuesday morning at the age of 59. The news shocked fans of the show and left Kimmel himself visibly heartbroken as he opened the night's episode with one of the most emotional monologues of his career. For nearly 23 years, Escobedo had been the musical heartbeat of the show, leading the house band Cleto and the Clitones, and for Jimmy Kimmel, he was more than a colleague. He was a brother, a confidant, and a lifelong friend. "I've had to do some hard monologues over the years, but this one is the hardest," Kimmel said, fighting back tears as he addressed the studio audience. "Early this morning, we lost someone very special who was much too young to go, and I'd like to tell you about him." His voice broke at times, the grief palpable, as he shared memories that stretched from childhood into the bright lights of late-night television. Kimmel recalled the unbreakable bond he had shared with Escobedo, a friendship that began in 1977 in the suburbs of Las Vegas after his family relocated from Brooklyn. The two families lived close to one another, and from the very first meeting, the boys became inseparable. "Not just regular friends either. We became like 24/7, Mom, please let me sleep over, please kind of friends," Kimmel said. "One summer I slept over at the Escobedo house 33 nights in a row. We were never bored. We were always up to something." Their friendship extended far beyond childhood games. They shared everything from baseball and dressing up as cowboys to boxing, attempts at bodybuilding, and navigating the awkwardness of adolescence. Through every milestone, every challenge, and every triumph, they were side by side. As adults, they celebrated major life events together, serving as best men at each other's weddings. Their bond was constant, unwavering, and deeply personal. Escobedo, who went by Junior, was a gifted musician. His father, Cleto Escobedo Sr., had been a professional saxophonist and had put his touring career on hold when his son was born to stay close to the family. Junior followed in his father's footsteps, mastering the saxophone and eventually rising to prominence as a performer. Before joining Jimmy Kimmel Live, he toured with artists like Paula Abdul and recorded studio albums, building a career defined by talent, dedication, and heart. But through all of his accomplishments, his friendship with Kimmel remained a central part of his life. When Kimmel was offered his own late-night talk show in September 2002, he knew immediately who he wanted to lead the band. The idea that anyone other than him would lead the band was terrifying. "It had to be him," Kimmel said. He arranged an audition for Junior and his father for ABC executive Lloyd Braun. They played Pick Up the Pieces by Average White Band. Kimmel recalled how Braun watched the father and son perform, smiled, and simply said, "I love it," before leaving the room. That was the beginning of a collaboration that would last nearly 23 years. For Kimmel, Escobedo was more than just a musician. He was a partner in laughter, creativity, and understanding. "We had our own language that almost no one else understood," Kimmel said. "We didn't have to say anything. We'd sit here at rehearsal every day, we'd have to look at each other, and that would be it." Their shared history, spanning decades, had created a bond so profound that the stage and cameras could never capture its depth. During the emotional monologue, Kimmel spoke about the small, everyday ways that Escobedo expressed his friendship and love. He would call or text him constantly, sharing everything from life's big moments to the smallest joys. "He would tell me how lucky he was," Kimmel said. "He was just a great older brother. No baggage, all love. There's no one in my life I felt more comfortable with." His words, delivered with quiet sorrow, resonated with viewers across the country. A reminder of the irreplaceable value of lifelong friendship. While Escobedo's cause of death has not yet been revealed, Kimmel expressed deep gratitude to the medical staff who cared for his friend in recent months. He thanked the doctors and nurses at UCLA Medical Center for the exceptional care they provided, as well as the team at Sherman Oaks Hospital, which initially admitted Escobedo. I'm grateful for my friends, Cleto's friends. Everyone who checked in on him, everyone who called and visited him, who've been helping his family, Kimmel said. Everyone here at our show has been so supportive. He also expressed heartfelt appreciation for Escobedo's parents, Cleto and Sylvia, who welcomed him as part of their family. Mostly, I want to thank Cleto's parents for making him and for sharing him with me and with all of us, and for treating me like their own son. Always, Kimmel said, his voice thick with emotion. These words captured the profound sense of loss he felt, a loss not just of a talented musician, but of a person who had shaped his life from childhood. The connection between Kimmel and Escobedo was never just professional. It was a lifelong friendship built on trust, shared experiences, and an understanding that transcended words. From their early days in Las Vegas to the national stage, they were partners in every sense. Kimmel's monologue painted a vivid picture of a friendship that had endured decades of change, challenges, and personal growth. He described how Escobedo brought warmth and laughter to every rehearsal, every performance, every day. There was no one who could lift a room like Junior, Kimmel said. He had this way of making everyone feel at home, of making everything better just by being there. For viewers of the show, Escobedo was often in the background, a steady presence on stage. But for Kimmel, he was at the center of everything that mattered. Kimmel also acknowledged that grief would require him to step back, announcing that he would take the next couple of nights off from hosting. But he had wanted to be on stage Tuesday night to tell the world about his friend. He wanted people to know who Cleto Escobedo III was, not just as a musician, but as a man who had touched lives, inspired loyalty, and created joy wherever he went. It was a final act of love and respect from someone who had shared decades of his life with his friend. He closed the tribute by reminding viewers to cherish their friends. "We're not here forever," he said softly. The words echoed in the hearts of everyone watching, a solemn reminder of life's fragility and the importance of holding close the people who matter most. It was a simple message, delivered through the weight of genuine grief, that resonated far beyond the walls of the studio. After the tribute, Kimmel introduced the night's guest, Eddie Murphy, one of Escobedo's favorite performers. It was a gesture that reflected Escobedo's spirit, his love of laughter and entertainment, and the ways in which he had touched the lives of so many. Even in death, his influence and presence were being honored in the ways that mattered most. Fans and colleagues immediately took to social media to express their condolences. Many shared stories of encounters with Escobedo, his warmth, his talent, and his generosity. Former guests of the show remembered him fondly, recalling the energy he brought to rehearsals and performances. His passing was a reminder of the quiet heroes behind the scenes, whose work and friendship shaped the people and programs we admire. Throughout the monologue, Kimmel's grief was raw and unfiltered. There was no pretense, no attempt to hide the depth of his loss. He spoke not as a television host, but as a lifelong friend, mourning someone irreplaceable. His vulnerability highlighted the importance of friendship and loyalty, the rare kind that survives decades and becomes a defining part of who we are. Cleto Escobedo III leaves behind not just a musical legacy, but a legacy of friendship, love, and commitment. From the early days in Las Vegas to the national stage, he remained true to his family, his friends, and his craft. He influenced countless viewers through his music, but those who knew him best understood the true measure of his life, the joy, the laughter, and the love he gave freely to those around him. Jimmy Kimmel's tribute was a reminder to everyone watching that life is fleeting and that the people we hold dear are our greatest treasure. Through the tears, through the silence, through the pain, his words carried a message that extended far beyond late-night television. Cherish your friends. Hold them close. Tell them they matter because one day they may be gone. As the episode came to a close, the empty stage and the quiet that followed spoke volumes. It was the absence of a man who had been present in so many ways. The audience, both in the studio and at home, felt the weight of the loss, witnessing a friendship that had endured decades and the grief that follows when such a bond is broken. Kimmel's words lingered, a tribute not only to a friend, but to the enduring power of human connection. Cleto Escobedo III's passing marks the end of an era for Jimmy Kimmel Live and for the many lives he touched. His music, his laughter, and his friendship will be remembered and cherished. Jimmy Kimmel's tears were not just for a band leader, but for the best friend who had been part of every significant moment in his life. In honoring him, Kimmel reminded the world of the value of loyalty, love, and friendship that spans a lifetime. In the coming days, as Kimmel takes time off to grieve, the television world will reflect on the life of Cleto Escobedo III, a man whose presence was steady, whose talent was undeniable, and whose friendship was unparalleled. His memory will live on in the music he created, the lives he touched, and in the heart of the man who called him brother.